Welcome back to the Windsor Chronicles, where we look beyond the headlines, beyond the palace walls, and into the human stories behind Britain's royal family. And today, we're diving into an incident that, though brief, spoke volumes about the pressures and perceptions surrounding the modern monarchy. During a royal visit to Lichfield Cathedral in Staffordshire, King Charles III was heckled by a protester. The moment was tense, uncomfortable, and deeply symbolic of the lingering shadows that still hover around one of the most controversial figures in the royal household, Prince Andrew. The protester's words were direct and cutting. He shouted questions at the king about Prince Andrew's friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. "How long have you known about Andrew and Epstein? Did you ask the police to cover up for him?" King Charles did not respond. He walked calmly into the cathedral, acknowledging well-wishers as members of the crowd rebuked the heckler, some telling him to shut up, others loudly declaring their support for the king. It was an uncomfortable moment, not just for the monarch, but for a nation that continues to wrestle with questions about privilege, accountability, and moral leadership. Royal visits are carefully choreographed affairs, steeped in tradition and public symbolism. But they're also moments when the monarchy steps into the unpredictable world of everyday people. At Lichfield Cathedral, King Charles was not there to make headlines. He was there to meet volunteers, celebrate community work, and see something truly special: the table for the nation. This remarkable table, crafted from 5,000-year-old Fenland black oak, was created in 2012 to mark Queen Elizabeth II's Diamond Jubilee, a symbol of unity and hope, made from the very soil of Britain. It's used today for community gatherings, local celebrations, and conversations about belonging. Around that table, the king met representatives from the city's food bank, the Liberty Jamboree, and Music Share, organisations that reflect the resilience and compassion of local people. And yet, outside those ancient doors, one man's shouted questions pierced the cathedral's peace, a reminder that the past still speaks loudly. The protester's words weren't random. They echoed a public frustration that refuses to fade. In recent days, reports revealed that Prince Andrew remained in contact with Jeffrey Epstein even after the date he claimed to have cut ties. This revelation reopened old wounds, reigniting anger over Andrew's lack of transparency and the monarchy's handling of his conduct. The Duke of York has been stripped of his royal duties and military titles, yet he continues to live in Royal Lodge, a 30-room mansion on the Windsor estate, at what's described as a peppercorn rent. In plain terms, he pays virtually nothing. Andrew financed the renovation of the property, yes, but the deal allows him to live there indefinitely, paying only a symbolic peppercorn, if demanded. It's a legal technicality, but politically it feels tone-deaf, especially in a time when ordinary citizens face a cost-of-living crisis. Politicians and commentators alike have called for an investigation into the arrangement. Meanwhile, The Sun reported that Andrew has said he'd be willing to leave Royal Lodge, but only if he were granted Frogmore Cottage, the former home of Harry and Meghan, or Adelaide Cottage, currently occupied by the Prince and Princess of Wales. In essence, he's not refusing to move, he's demanding options, and that demand has drawn fresh outrage. So why didn't King Charles respond? It's tempting to see royal silence as avoidance, but within palace protocol, silence is strategy. For a monarch, every word carries political and symbolic weight. Responding to a heckler about a scandal still under public scrutiny could have blurred that delicate line between personal loyalty and public duty. Yet silence doesn't make the questions disappear. It amplifies them. King Charles inherited not just a crown, but a family history under relentless examination. His reign is shadowed by the challenge of modern accountability, balancing compassion with consequence. And while his public composure earns respect, moments like this remind us that the monarchy cannot fully control its narrative anymore. The age of instant judgment, of smartphones, social media, and raw public emotion means that every silence speaks louder than ever. What was striking about the scene outside the cathedral wasn't just the heckler, but the crowd's reaction. People stepped in. They defended the king. A woman shouted, "Shut up!" Others cheered, clapped, or simply stood firm in silent support. In that moment, Britain's split identity over its monarchy was on full display, devotion and disillusionment, side by side. The royal family's own social media team subtly acknowledged the tension, beginning their post about the visit with the line, "Thank you to all who waited outside the cathedral to say hello." A simple phrase, but one that emphasized positivity over confrontation. It's easy to frame this story as yet another royal controversy, but look closer, and it becomes something deeper, a test of how the monarchy evolves under modern scrutiny. King Charles has often spoken about duty, service, and the importance of connecting with everyday Britons. Yet he must also navigate the emotional fallout of his brother's actions, and the perception that royal privilege shields some from accountability. Public trust in the monarchy has always been cyclical, rising and falling with the times. And while Prince Andrew's chapter remains one of its darkest, moments like the one in Staffordshire remind us that people still care enough to question, to challenge, and to hope for better. The king's visit didn't end at the cathedral. Later that day, he attended the unveiling of a new public memorial at the National Memorial Arboretum, a monument called An Opened Letter. Designed by the Abraxas Academy Artist Collective, it honours LGBT+ service members who were banned from serving in the UK's armed forces until the year 2000. The monument, a bronze sculpture shaped like an open letter, bears words from real testimonies of those who suffered under that ban. It's a powerful act of acknowledgement, a symbol of healing and inclusion. And in a poetic sense, it mirrors the very conversation Britain is now having with its monarchy, a letter opened, a truth revealed, a reckoning long overdue. King Charles didn't respond to the heckler that day, but perhaps he didn't need to, because the question isn't only for him, it's for all of us who care about integrity, compassion, and justice. How do we hold our institutions to account without losing our humanity? How do we balance forgiveness with fairness? And how does a monarchy rooted in history survive the storms of modern truth? For now, the king continues his work, shaking hands, meeting communities, standing before monuments that honour courage and resilience. But beyond the cameras, the challenge remains. To lead not only with dignity, but with honesty. I'm your name, and this has been the Windsor Chronicles. Thank you for joining me. If you found this episode insightful, please follow, share, and leave your reflections. They help this conversation grow. Until next time, stay thoughtful, stay kind, and remember, history is still being written, one royal day at a time.